Welcome, my fellow Earthlings, to a cosmic reality check. We're about to embark on a thrilling and perhaps slightly terrifying journey through the 11 destruction laws that threaten humanity's existence. Don't worry, I'm not talking about some ancient prophecy or doomsday cult. We're going to ground this exploration in scientific principles and real-world possibilities. From the depths of outer space to the very core of our planet, forces are at play that could spell disaster for humankind. We'll investigate potential asteroid impacts, solar flares that could fry our electronics, and other cosmic events that make you realize just how small and vulnerable we are in the grand scheme of the universe. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Remember, knowledge is power. By understanding these threats, we can start to develop strategies to mitigate them and maybe, just maybe, ensure the survival of our species. So, buckle up. Get ready to confront the existential, and let's dive into the 11 destruction laws that could bring about our demise. Space, as I often say, is vast and unforgiving. It's also teeming with objects that could obliterate us in an instant. Take asteroids, for example. These celestial wanderers, remnants from the early solar system, hurtle through space at incredible speeds. A collision with even a relatively small asteroid could release more energy than thousands of nuclear bombs. And then there's the Sun, our life-giving star, which also happens to be a raging inferno capable of unleashing solar flares and coronal mass ejections. These bursts of energy can disrupt our satellites, knock out power grids, and plunge our technologically dependent civilization into chaos. But wait, there's more. Gamma-ray bursts, the most powerful explosions in the universe, could occur in our cosmic neighborhood, bathing Earth in lethal radiation. And let's not forget about rogue black holes, those gravitational monsters lurking in the darkness, capable of devouring anything in their path. The good news is that these cosmic events are relatively rare on human timescales. The bad news is that, well, they can still happen, but fear not. By developing early warning systems, asteroid deflection technologies, and hardening our infrastructure against solar storms, we can greatly reduce our risk. While we gaze at the stars, wondering what might befall us from the cosmos, we often forget that our own planet can be a pretty dangerous place. Earth is a dynamic, ever-changing system, and sometimes those changes manifest in catastrophic ways. Earthquakes, for example, can shake continents, trigger tsunamis that wipe out coastal communities, and leave behind a trail of devastation. Speaking of tsunamis, these monstrous waves, often generated by undersea earthquakes or volcanic eruptions, can travel across entire oceans at the speed of a jetliner, unleashing their fury on unsuspecting shores. And let's not forget about volcanoes. These fiery mountains, fueled by molten rock from deep within the earth, can erupt with explosive force, spewing ash and gas into the atmosphere, burying cities in lava flows and triggering climate change. But nature's fury isn't limited to these dramatic events. We also have to contend with hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, droughts, wildfires, a whole arsenal of natural disasters that remind us of our precarious existence on this planet. The key to surviving these earthly threats lies in understanding their causes, predicting their behavior, and building resilient infrastructure and early warning systems. As if cosmic collisions and natural disasters weren't enough, we humans seem hell-bent on adding to our own existential anxieties. War, that age-old scourge, continues to cast a long shadow over humanity. From ancient tribal conflicts to modern global wars, we've proven remarkably adept at devising ever more efficient ways to kill one another. And with the advent of nuclear weapons, we've achieved a level of destructive potential that boggles the mind. A full-scale nuclear war would be an unimaginable catastrophe, unleashing firestorms, radiation sickness, and a nuclear winter that could plunge the planet into darkness and famine. Even a limited nuclear exchange would have devastating consequences, but the horrors of war extend far beyond the battlefield. Conflicts displace millions, shatter economies, and sow the seeds of future violence. They divert resources from essential needs like healthcare, education, and environmental protection. The path to averting this self-inflicted destruction is clear, if not always easy. Diplomacy, international cooperation, arms control, and the pursuit of peaceful solutions to conflict. Chapter 4. The Silent Killers. Pandemics and Disease. In the invisible realm, a different kind of threat lurks. Microscopic enemies that can bring humanity to its knees. Throughout history, pandemics have ravaged civilizations, leaving behind a trail of death and despair. The Black Death in the 14th century wiped out a third of Europe's population. The 1918 influenza pandemic killed tens of millions worldwide. More recently, HIV/AIDS has claimed countless lives. These outbreaks demonstrate the terrifying power of infectious diseases, especially in our interconnected world, where a virus can travel from a remote village to a major city in a matter of hours. And it's not just familiar foes we have to worry about. Emerging diseases like SARS, Ebola, and COVID-19 constantly remind us of our vulnerability to unknown pathogens. Combating this invisible enemy requires a multi-pronged approach: robust public health systems, early detection and surveillance, rapid vaccine development, and perhaps most importantly, global cooperation and information sharing. Chapter 5. Time's Toll: The Inevitability of Aging. While the previous threats we've discussed are sudden and dramatic, there's another more insidious force at play: the relentless march of time. Aging, that universal experience, may not seem like an existential threat, but it presents unique challenges to our species' long-term survival. As we age, our bodies become more susceptible to disease, our minds may decline, and our ability to contribute to society can diminish. This aging population places a strain on healthcare systems, social security, and the overall economy. Moreover, a shrinking workforce and a growing elderly population could lead to labor shortages, economic stagnation, and a decline in innovation. While we haven't yet discovered the fountain of youth, scientific advancements in areas like regenerative medicine, geroscience, and healthy aging offer hope for extending lifespan and improving quality of life in our later years. Addressing the challenges of an aging population will require a combination of scientific breakthroughs, social adaptation, and economic adjustments. Chapter 6. A Planet in Peril: Environmental Degradation. We humans have a knack for taking things for granted, especially the delicate balance of the planet that sustains us. Our insatiable appetite for resources, our relentless pursuit of economic growth, and our disregard for the environment have pushed Earth's systems to the brink. Pollution, deforestation, and climate change are no longer distant threats. They're happening now, before our very eyes. We're witnessing more extreme weather events, rising sea levels, mass extinctions, and the degradation of ecosystems that sustain life. The consequences of our environmental recklessness are far-reaching, impacting human health, food security, water resources, and global stability. If we continue on this unsustainable path, we risk triggering runaway climate change and rendering our planet uninhabitable. The good news is that we still have time to course correct. By transitioning to renewable energy, embracing sustainable practices, conserving natural resources, and developing innovative solutions, we can mitigate the worst effects of climate change and preserve a habitable planet for future generations. Chapter 7. Technological Sword: The Double-Edged Blade of Progress. Technology, that hallmark of human ingenuity, has propelled our species forward, improving our lives in countless ways. But every technological leap comes with inherent risks, and some of these risks could threaten our very existence. Artificial intelligence, for example, holds immense promise for solving some of humanity's greatest challenges. But what happens when AI surpasses human intelligence and becomes capable of making decisions that are not in our best interests? Cyber attacks, another growing threat, can cripple critical infrastructure, disrupt financial markets, and sow chaos in our increasingly interconnected world. As we become more reliant on technology, we also become more vulnerable to its potential downsides. And let's not forget about the unintended consequences of technological advancements. From genetically modified organisms to nanotechnology, we're venturing into uncharted territory, and it's impossible to predict all the potential risks. To harness the power of technology while mitigating its risks, we need to prioritize ethical considerations, cybersecurity, and responsible innovation. Chapter 8. Crumbling Foundations: The Peril of Economic Collapse. Our globalized world, for all its interconnectedness and interdependence, is built on a foundation of complex and often fragile economic systems. When these systems falter, the consequences can be swift and devastating. Economic recessions, depressions, and financial crises can lead to widespread unemployment, poverty, social unrest, and even violence. They can undermine governments, erode trust in institutions, and trigger a cascade of negative effects that ripple throughout society. The 2008 global financial crisis, for example, demonstrated just how quickly a seemingly stable economic system can unravel, with devastating consequences for people around the world. Factors that contribute to economic instability include income inequality, unsustainable debt levels, speculative bubbles, and a lack of financial regulation. To build more resilient and equitable economic systems, we need to address these underlying problems, promote sustainable growth, and ensure that the benefits of economic progress are shared more widely. Societies, like any complex system, are constantly evolving, adapting to changing circumstances and internal pressures. But sometimes these pressures can reach a boiling point, erupting in social unrest, protests, riots, and even civil wars. Factors that contribute to social unrest include political instability, corruption, inequality, discrimination, lack of opportunity, and perceived injustices. When people feel unheard, marginalized, or deprived of their basic needs, they're more likely to take to the streets in protest. In extreme cases, social unrest can lead to the collapse of governments, widespread violence, and humanitarian crises. Even in less extreme cases, it can disrupt economies, damage social cohesion, and undermine trust in institutions. Addressing the root causes of social unrest requires a commitment to social justice, equality, good governance, and addressing the grievances of marginalized communities. Our planet Earth, for all its vastness, has finite resources, and as our population continues to grow and our consumption patterns become increasingly unsustainable, we're putting an unprecedented strain on these resources. Water scarcity, for example, is already a major problem in many parts of the world, leading to conflict, displacement, and humanitarian crises. As climate change disrupts weather patterns and alters precipitation levels, water scarcity is likely to become even more widespread. Food security is another major concern. As arable land degrades, water resources dwindle, and climate change impacts crop yields, feeding a growing global population will become increasingly challenging. And let's not forget about energy. Our reliance on fossil fuels has driven climate change, but transitioning to renewable energy sources will require significant investments in infrastructure and technology. To avoid a future defined by resource wars and ecological collapse, we need to transition to a more sustainable and equitable model of resource management, one that prioritizes conservation, efficiency, and equitable access to essential resources. Perhaps the most unsettling threats to humanity are the ones we haven't even imagined yet. The universe is a vast and mysterious place, full of surprises that can upend our best-laid plans. What if a rogue black hole lurking unseen in the depths of space suddenly veers toward our solar system? Or what if a previously unknown virus, far more deadly than anything we've encountered before, emerges from the depths of the rainforest? These scenarios may sound like science fiction, but they highlight the fact that we can't predict every eventuality. The universe is full of unknown unknowns, and some of them could pose existential threats to our species. While we can't prepare for every possible disaster, we can foster a spirit of resilience, adaptability, and innovation. We can invest in scientific research, develop early warning systems, and build robust infrastructure that can withstand a variety of threats. Ultimately, our ability to survive and thrive in the face of the unknown will depend on our ingenuity, our adaptability, and our willingness to work together to overcome whatever challenges the universe throws our way. So there you have it. 11 destruction laws that could spell the end for humanity. Daunting, absolutely. But here's the thing. Understanding these threats is the first step towards finding solutions. We're not passive passengers on this pale blue dot. We have the power to shape our destiny. Stay informed, stay prepared, and let's work together to secure a better future for humanity. The universe is full of wonders and perils, and it's up to us to navigate the challenges and seize the opportunities that lie ahead. Remember, the future is not written in stone, it's a blank canvas, and we, the human race, hold the brush. Let's paint a masterpiece.